Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Caitanya Caritāmrta class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Srī Caitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hri वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नितिनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are continuing our discussion from Caitanya Caritāmrta Madhya lila. We are in chapter 17. The Lord travels to Vrindavan. We are in the one of the almost last section of this 17th chapter. So in this chapter, we have heard wonderful things. How Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is in Puri and he had intense desire to go to Vrindavan. Swarup Damodar Goswami and Nityananda Prabhu, they requested Mahaprabhu to take one assistant. Mahaprabhu said, I can't take any of my close associates, otherwise others will feel bad. He should be a new Nutana Sangiyar Snigdayaraman. He should be a new devotee and he should be a mature devotee. He should know how to deal with others. He should have controlled mind. So, Swarup Damodar Goswami, he arranged immediately. He said, yes, we have this devotee Balbhadra Bhattacharya. Swarup kahe Balbhadra Bhattacharya, tomate susnigdha bada Pandit Sadhu Arya. Very wonderful devotee. And Mahaprabhu, he accepts, takes Balbhadra and one more Brahman with him. They cross through so many places. Balbhadra, he is serving the Lord very affectionately, taking care of the Lord in minor details. And Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu expresses his gratitude and happiness and embraces Balbhadra. He says, because of you, I have experienced such great joy in this forest path. Mahaprabhu, as he is passing through Jharkhand forest, he's uh, creating wonderful revolution. The animals are chanting Krishna's name. Tigers and elephants and deers, they are all chanting the names of Krishna. Yatra Naisarga Durvaira Sahasa Nrimrigadaya Mitrani Ivajitavasha Drut Rut Tarshakadikam. There is no envy in the spiritual world in Vrindavan. That was exhibited by Mahaprabhu when he was in Jharkhand forest. And then Mahaprabhu reaches Varanasi. As he is taking bath in Manikarnika Ghat, he meets Tapan Mishra. Tapan Mishra was very happy and surprised to see Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He was sent by Mahaprabhu to Varanasi and he welcomed Mahaprabhu, brought him to his home, entire family, washed the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, put the water on their head. Chandrasekharacharya came, he was also very ecstatic, he was a devotee from Navdeep. They both surrendered their lives. Tapan Mishra requested that please stay for some more days here. Although Mahaprabhu had no plans to stay, but still he stayed just to please his devotees. He stayed for 10 days. That time, one Brahman comes and speaks to Prakashananda Saraswati about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had seen the glory of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his dance, his ecstatic dancing, his loving emotions. He was actually transformed personality, a great devotee. He had become a devotee. when he met Prakashananda Saraswati, he said, yes, I know that Chaitanya, he is a sentimental sannyasi. Don't associate with him. He had made this Sarvam Bhattacharya was such a great scholar into a sentiment. So this Brahman, when he heard such things about Mahaprabhu, he was not so happy. He came back and he told Mahaprabhu that this Prakashananda, he chanted Chaitanya 3 times, but he didn't chant Krishna even once. Why? Why is it so that he could not chant Krishna? Mahaprabhu tells that Mayavadis are Krishna Aparadi, they are the offenders of the lotus feet of Krishna. They can never chant the names of Lord. And Mahaprabhu described the wonderful transcendental qualities of Krishna's name, form, pastimes. And he said, Mahaprabhu says, Bhari boja layya ke mone layya ba alpa swalpa mulya paile ethai bechiba. He said, I'm carrying a huge load of love of God. I thought I'll sell it here, but I'm not finding any customers. I am ready to sell it even in a fraction of the price. So Mahaprabhu ultimately accepts this Brahmana as his devotee and then he departs. Mahaprabhu arrives at Mathura. On the way, he goes to Prayag. Wherever he went, he saw Yamuna. He was in ecstasy, chanting, dancing. At Mathura, he went to Keshavji temple. He took bath at Vishram Ghat. When Sanodia Brahman came, and as Mahaprabhu was dancing, he also joined. He also started dancing. Entire Mathura became very ecstatic. After Mahaprabhu stopped dancing, he took this Sanodia Brahman aside and asked him, how did you get such loving sentiments? So this Brahman said, sometime back, Madhavendra Puri had come to Mathura on the way to Govardhan. And he initiated me. He took prasad at my place. So Mahaprabhu, he said, oh no, you are associate of Srī Caitanya, Srī Madhavendra Puri, you are his disciple. You are like my guru. He fell at his feet, he offered obeisances and said, you please cook prasad for me. So that's how we discussed. So ultimately, Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he is very happy, chanting, dancing the names of the Lord. And ultimately, he is about to reach Vrindavan. So we have discussed till verse number 189. We'll continue from 190. So Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he bathed in 24 ghats on the bank of Yamuna river. And this Brahman, Sanodia Brahman, he showed him all the various places of pilgrimage. Srila Prabhupada writes, there are 24 bathing ghats on Yamuna. Prabhupada takes the name of all the bathing ghats. Abhimukta, Ariruda, Guhya Tirtha, Prayaga Tirtha, Kankhal, all those wonderful places. So Mahaprabhu visited all the places on the bank of Yamuna, including Vishram Ghat, Bhuteshwar Mahadev. And then whenever he wanted to see the forests of Vrindavan, he took this Brahman with him. So Mahaprabhu now he is in Vrindavan and he is traveling to all the holy places of Vrindavan, all the 12 forests of Vrindavan. Mahavan, Madhuvan, Talvan, Kumudavan, Bhadravan. Wherever Mahaprabhu went, he took bath there. He was ecstatic. Srila Prabhupada writes, there are 12 forests in Vrindavan. Some are located on the western side of Yamuna. Some are on the eastern side of Yamuna. So on the western side, there are 7 forests: Madhuvan, Talvan, Kumudvan, Bahulavan, Kamyavan, Khadirvan, and Vrindavan. These forests are situated on the western side of Yamuna. And on the eastern side, Bhadravan, Pilvavan, Lauhavan, Handirvan, and Mahavan. So Mahaprabhu, he went to all these wonderful forests. And as Mahaprabhu is passing through Vrindavan, the grazing cows, when they saw Mahaprabhu, they ran towards him, they surrounded him, started moving very loudly. And Mahaprabhu was ecstatic. He was absorbed in ecstatic love. All the cows, they began to lick the body of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu out of affection. The same things which Krishna did when he would go to Vrindavan. Everybody was ecstatic. निज समसका संगे गोगण चारण रंगे वृंदावने स्वच्छंद विहार यार वेणु ध्वनि शुनि स्थावर जंगम प्राणी पुलक कंप अश्रु बहेधार. Everybody was ecstatic in Vrindavan. Sthavara, Jangama, Prani. The moving, non-moving, even matter, even rocks and river, they would show symptoms of ecstasy. So these cows, they come running to Mahaprabhu, they start licking. Mahaprabhu starts caressing the cows. And these cows, they are not able to give up company of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. These cowherd men, they had a great difficulty taking the cows away from Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And then, as the Lord, he was moving in Vrindavan, in these forests, he would chant. And by his sweet chanting, the deers approached him. And the deers, they would start walking by. The does and the bucks, they came. They saw Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's beautiful body. They also began to lick the body of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. That's how wherever Mahaprabhu was going, he was attracting all the inhabitants. Nobody was afraid. None of the deers and the does and the bucks, they were afraid. They were all very, 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 very loving, as if they had known Mahaprabhu for long. They were accompanying him wherever he was going. The bumblebees and the parrots, the cuckoos, they all began to sing very loudly, seeing Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is said they began to sing in the fifth note, Panchamaswara. The peacocks came. The peacocks became so very jubilant, they started dancing. And Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, as he's moving in the forest of Vrindavan, the trees are becoming jubilant, trees are becoming ecstatic. The twigs, they stood up. The trees, they started shedding tears of ecstasy in the form of honey from their homes. That was the beauty of Vrindavan, seeing Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhu dekhi Vrindavanera sthabara jangam Anandita bandhu ye na dekhe bandhugan. So Prabhu dekhi Vrindavanera sthavara jangam. The moving and the non-moving living beings in Vrindavan, they all became very jubilant. Anandita, as if they were meeting their beloved after a long time. As the friends they meet, they are so very happy. These trees and the creepers and the animals of Vrindavan, they were so very happy and ecstatic, as if they were meeting their friend after a long time. Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, as he saw their beautiful love, he was so very ecstatic. He began to sport with them exactly as friends, they play together, sport. And actually, he was practically coming under the control of these animals and the plants, just giving them love. Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu was so happy. He began to embrace each and every tree of Vrindavan. They were so very ecstatic, and Mahaprabhu, he was actually giving them so much love. And as we see in Vrindavan, as we have heard the stories of Krishna in Vrindavan, when Krishna would be in Vrindavan, all the trees would bow down and they would offer their fruits to Krishna and Balaram. The same things are happening when Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is there. All the trees are offering their fruits, and creepers are embracing Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. They're offering their flowers to Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he was ecstatic. He has tears of ecstasy. His limbs are trembling. All the symptoms of ecstasy, his hairs are standing on end. And he was chanting all these animals loudly, chant Krishna, chant Krishna. Everybody started chanting Krishna's name. Sthavara jangama mili kare Krishna dhvani, prabhura gambhira swara yena pratidhvani. As Mahaprabhu is singing loudly, his echo is looking as if all the trees and all the animals, they are chanting. Actually, Kaviraj Goswami says that other way around. All the moving and non-moving creatures of of this Vrindavan, they began to chant as if they are echoing the words of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the power of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. The similar things are described in Bhagavatam in context with Shukdev Goswami. As Shukdev Goswami he takes birth, immediately leaves. Vyasdev is running after Shukdev Goswami. He is calling Yam praprajantam anupetya petya krityam dvaipayano viraha katara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravo vinedu tam vyasa sonumupayami gurum muninam. Sud Goswami is offering prayer to Shukdev Goswami. That Shukdev Goswami who could make trees also speak. That Shukdev Goswami, please be pleased upon me and inspire me to speak Krishna Katha. That's the power of the great devotees of the Lord and Krishna. They can even inspire the animals and the trees to speak. So that's how Mahaprabhu is so very ecstatic. The pratidhvani, the chanting of the trees and the animals, it is looking as if it is the pratidhvani of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the echo. Mahaprabhu, he clasped the necks of the deer and began to cry. And the deers were also so ecstatic, they had tears in their eyes. So that's the beauty of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Now, a male and a female parrot, they were sitting on the branch of the tree. The Lord saw these two birds. They wanted to speak to them. Shuk Sari. There's a beautiful bhajan written on that. Gaur bole Hari Hari, Sari bole Hari Hari. So this is the same pastime based on this section. So as these male and female parrots, Shuk and Sari, Shuk is the male parrot, Sari is the female parrot. They saw Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. They immediately came and sat on the hand of Srī Caitanya. And they began to glorify the qualities of Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So the Shuka, the male parrot, he first describes the qualities of Krishna. Very, very beautiful, interesting, very detailed explanation Shuka is giving. Saundaryam lalanali dhairya dalanam leelarama stambini Viryam kandukitadre varyam amalam pare parardham guna Sheelam sarvajananuramjana ho yasyayam asmat prabho Vishwam Vishwajanina Kirtiravatat Krishno Jaganmohana Saundaryam Lalana Ali Dhairya Dalanam. The beauty of Krishna is such that it subdues the gopis of Vrindavan. His beauty is virtuous over the gopis of Vrindavan, subdues their patience, makes them restless. Lalana Ali. Ali means the group of the gopis. Dhairya Dalanam subdues their patience, they become restless. His beauty astounds even goddess of fortune. Even Lakshmi Devi wants to have darshan and associate with Krishna. He's doing tapasya in Belavan for that. She's not getting entrance in Rasa Lila. Saundaryam lalanalidhairi dalanam lila rama stambhini. Lila Rama stambhini, even goddess of fortune is astounded seeing the pastimes of Krishna. We have heard the whole section of Mahaprabhu's discussion with this Brahmana, Venkat Bhatta in Srirangam, where Mahaprabhu asks him, how is it that Lakshmi, who is chaste, how is she desiring to associate with Krishna? So this Shuka is also saying the same thing. Lila Ramastambhini and Viryam. What to speak of the strength of Krishna? Viryam Kandukita Adrivaryam Amalam. Kandukita Adri. The power of Krishna is such that he lifted the entire Adri, Govardhan, like a mushroom, Kandukita. Kandu, like a small ball. Pare Parardham Guna. His qualities are spotless and unlimited. Pare Parardham Guna. And what to speak of the behavior? So many beautiful aspects. First is describing the beauty, then pastimes, then strength, then qualities. What's the quality? Spotless, unlimited, and then the behavior. Sheelam yasya jananuranjana maho. The behavior of Krishna is such that it satisfies everyone. Yasyayam asmat prabhu, he is my Lord. That Krishna is our Lord. That Shuka is very proudly saying that Krishna is our Lord. That's the pride of a devotee. Krishna is our Lord. That's the pride a devotee should have. Asyayam asmat prabhu, mere bhagwan hai. So mere bhagwan aise महान hai. Bhakti Tirth Maharaj writes in the Madhurya Kadambini, his commentary, says a devotee should be proud of Krishna. He should be proud of Guru Parampara. He should be proud of scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam. He should be proud of the process of devotional service. Asyayam asmat prabhu. And Vishwam Vishwa Janina Kirtiravata. What to speak of the glorification? This glorification of Krishna, Vishwa Janina Kirti, it is beneficial for everyone. That's how Krishna is Jagan Mohana. That's how Krishna is all attractive. Nothing is more beneficial and auspicious than the beauty of Krishna and the pastimes of Krishna, names of Krishna. Yasyakhilamī vahabhi sumangalai vacho vimishra gunakarma janmabhi prananti shumbhanti punanti vai jagat yastad virakta shavashobhanamati. Yasya akhila amiva habi. Amiv means since habi gets destroyed. Sumangalai, all the auspiciousness is created when Vacho Vimishra Gunakarma Janmabhi, when the words are mixed with the name, form, pastimes of Krishna are spoken. Prananti Shumbhanti Punanti Vai Jagat, they give life, they purify, they animate this world. Otherwise, everything else is Yastad Virakta Shavashobhanamti. So this Shuka, he is glorifying the Lord like this. Beautiful glorification. Saundaryam lalanalidhairi dalanam lila rama stambhini Viryam kandukitadrivaryam amalam pare parardham guna Sheelam sarvajananuranjanamaho yasyayamasvaprabho Vishwam Vishwajanina Kirtiravatat Krishno Jaganmohana. So Sari, she hears this and she starts glorifying Radharani. She starts the description of Radharani. Srī Radhikaya Priyata Surupata Sushilata Nartanagana Chaturi Gunali Sampat Kavita Charajate Jagan Manomohana Chitta Mohini. She says, Srī Radhikaya Priyata, Sri Radharani's affection, Surupata, her exquisite beauty, Sushilata, her wonderful good behavior, Nartana Gana Chaturi, artistic dance, singing, and Gunali Sampat, and her transcendental qualities, Kavita Charajate, and her poetic compositions, they are also attractive. That Jagan Manomohan Chitta Mohini. That Krishna who attracts the entire world, Jagan Manomohan, she attracts the chitta of Jagan Manomohan. That is the power of Srimati Radharani. You know, one of the qualities of pure devotional service, Sri Krishna Akarshini. Radharani is the goddess of devotion. She attracts Krishna by her beauty, by her affection. Sri Radhikaya Priyata Surupata Sushilata Nartanagana Chaturi. Sushilata, good behavior, artistic, wonderful dancing. Gunali Sampat, Guna Ali, the very, very wonderful transcendental qualities. Sampat, that is the wealth of Srimati Radharani. Kavitacha, and she makes wonderful compositions that attracts Krishna's attention. So the male parrot, he said, there is a competition going on between male Shuk and Sari. He says, Krishna is the enchanter of the mind of Cupid. He says, Vamshidhari Jagannari Chittahari Sasarige Vihari Gopanari Bhir Jiyana Madana Mohanaha. He says, my dear Shari, you know, Krishna, he carries Vamshidhari, he carries his celebrated flute. And when he plays that flute, Jagannari Chittahari, she attracts the minds of all the women of the world. Oh, Sarike. So that's the power of flute of Krishna. Kanera bhitara vasa kare, apane taha sada spure, अन्य शब्द न दे प्रवेशिते आन कथा न सुने का नान बोलिते बुलाया नहीं कृष्णेर वंशी रचरिते. When Krishna's flute sound enters the ears of the gopis, stays there, does not allow any other sound to enter, and manifests newer and newer ecstasies. The gopis can't hear anything, gopis can't speak anything. So the flute sound completely attracts and completely captivates the consciousness of all the women of the world throughout the universe. Jagannari Chittahari and Vihari Gopanari Bhir, especially the enjoyer of the beautiful gopis, and Jian Madan Mohana, he is the enchanter of Cupid also. When the female parrot, when Shari, she hears this, she started speaking jokingly. And as Mahaprabhu is able to understand this conversation which is going on between Shuka and Shari. Krishna can understand the language of all the living entities. So this Shari, she starts speaking. Hare Radha Sange Yada Bhati Tada Madan Mohana Anneta Vishwa Mohopi Swayam Madan Mohita. She says, when Krishna is with Radharani, he is the enchanter of Cupid. When he is alone, he is enchanted by the feelings, the lusty feelings for Srimati Radharani. Although he's attracting entire world, but he is himself getting attracted to Srimati Radharani. So as this conversation goes on, suddenly these two birds, they fly away. Mahaprabhu is so very happy. He watches the peacocks dancing. He saw the beautiful bluish necks of the peacocks. He remembers Krishna. He goes into ecstasy. He falls to the ground unconscious. That Brahmana and Balabhadra, they immediately they run and take care of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. They sprinkle water over him and chant the names of Krishna in his ears, brings him back to consciousness. Mahaprabhu, when he comes back to consciousness, he begins rolling on the ground. And as he's rolling, the sharp thorns of Vrindavan, they are pricking. Mahaprabhu's body is getting injured. Balabhadra and this Brahmana, they are very, very sad to see this. They take care of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu ultimately, Balbhadra, he takes Mahaprabhu on his lap, pacifies him by chanting. Mahaprabhu regains his consciousness again, gets up, and he loudly chants, tells Balbhadra, chant, chant. And he himself begins to dance. Balbhadra, Bhattacharya, and that Brahmana, they both start chanting the names of Krishna. They are all dancing. This Brahmana who was with Balbhadra, he was completely shocked, astounded to see this type of ecstatic symptoms Mahaprabhu is manifesting. Prabhur prema veshe dekhi Brahmana vismit, Prabhur laksha lagi vipra hoila chintit. He became really concerned. He had also intense love and affection for Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He was really anxious to protect Mahaprabhu. लीला चले छिलाय छे प्रेमावेश मन वृंदावन यैते पथे होइला शतुगुण. In Jagannath Puri, when Mahaprabhu was absorbed in ecstatic love, as he came on the way to Vrindavan, his ecstasy increased 100 times. सहस्र गुण प्रेम बड़े मथुरा दर्शने लक्ष गुण प्रेम बड़े भ्रमेरा यबे मने Vane. And when Mahaprabhu reached Mathura, his love increased 1,000 times, ecstasy increased 1,000 times. Lakshaguna bade, Pramera yabe vane. As Mahaprabhu is traveling through these forests of Vrindavan, his ecstasy is increased lakhs of times. That's how Mahaprabhu is manifesting such wonderful static emotions, unseen by others, unseen by anyone. Anya desha prema uchale Vrindavana name sakshat bhramayebe sei Vrindavane. Whenever Mahaprabhu was elsewhere, the very name of Vrindavan would evoke all the ecstatic feelings. What to speak of? Now Mahaprabhu was in Vrindavan. What must be the level of his ecstasy? Premero goro goro manoratri divase snana bhiksha dinirvaha kore no abhyase. He was just maintaining his body, he was eating, he was bathing just as a ritual, as a habit. He was completely absorbed in Krishna, not even realizing how he is taken care of. Just like Prahlad, his description is given. There's a small boy who was absorbed. He would sometimes chant, he would sometimes dance, cry, laugh. He was not even realizing how his daily needs are taken care of. Just absorbed. Krishna graha grihitatma naved jagadidrisham no dvigna chitto vyasaneshu nispriha shruteshu drishteshu guneshu avastadrik Dantendriya prana shariradi sada prashanta kamo rahita sura sura. Absorbed in Krishna. He would laugh, he would chant, he would dance, he would cry. Mahaprabhu, he is showing the epitome of all that. Just absorbed. Premera preme gargaran mana. His mind was completely absorbed in love. And he was not understanding how his needs are taken care of. He's completely happy. And then after this, Kaviraj Goswami describes that actually, I have just written a synopsis of the ecstatic love manifested by Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu in one of the places. Ei mata prema yavad bhramila bharavan ekatra likhilu sarvatra nayaya varnan. I have just written the ecstatic symptoms which Mahaprabhu manifested in one of the places. He says, I can't describe what all things Mahaprabhu did, the ecstatic symptoms which he manifested in all the 12 forests. It is unimaginable. He says, I can't describe. Ekatra likhilu, I have written only about one place. Vrindavane yaila prabhu yateka premera vikar, koti grantha anta likhen tahara vistar. He says even Ananta cannot describe the ecstatic symptoms of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, even if Ananta writes millions of books, Koti Granthe Ananta Likhena Taharas. So Ananta, he can write millions of books describing the ecstatic transformations of Lord Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. The ecstatic symptoms which he manifested in Vrindavan. And he said, Ananta cannot even describe the fragment of it. Tabu likhi bare nare tara eka kan uddesha korite kori dikadarshan. Even if he writes millions of books, still he cannot describe even a drop of the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, which he did in Vrindavan. It is unfathomable. You know what Kaviraj Goswami is saying here? And Kaviraj Goswami says in one place, if you don't believe this, you'll be destroyed. In a very strong way, sometimes Kaviraj Goswami says that. He says, Jagata Bhasila Caitanya lila pathare, Yara Yatta Shakti Tata pathare satare. Jagata Bhasaila Caitanya lila pathare. The whole world was immersed in the pastimes of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And one can swim in that water to the extent that he has the strength. Yara Yata Shakti, according to the strength one has, one can describe. Otherwise, it is impossible to describe, impossible to fathom the extent of the pastimes of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. As it is described, just like the birds, they fly according to their capacity of the wings. Sut Goswami says, I will also describe the pastimes of Krishna according to my capacity. Maitrimani also says, Tathapi kirtayamyanga yathamati yathashrutam kirtir harir swam satkartum giram anya vidasatim. Although I cannot describe the pastimes of Krishna, but still I'll describe because Yathamati yathashrutam, according to whatever I have heard, whatever I have realized, whatever my intelligence allows, I will describe. Because if I don't describe, my power of speech will become unchanged. The pastimes of Krishna are unlimited. Pastimes of Mahaprabhu are unlimited. Ananta, they are unlimited pastimes. Even Shesha, he is describing the glories of Mahaprabhu since beginning of the creation. He has not come to an end. Nantam vidamyamame munyograjaste maya balasya purushasya kuto varaye dhayan gunan dashatanana adideva sheshodhunapi samavastanasya param. Nobody can describe the pastimes of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So Kaviraj Goswami ends this chapter by glorifying Rupa and Raghunath, Shri Rupa Raghunath Padeyaras, Caitanya Caritāmrta Kahe Krishna Das. The 18th chapter of Srī Caitanya Caritāmrta Madhya lila is entitled Lord Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's visit to Sri Vrindavan Dham. In this wonderful chapter, many wonderful pastimes of the Lord are there. Mahaprabhu is now in Vrindavan. He's traveling to all the wonderful holy places of Vrindavan. And the type of ecstasy he is experiencing, it is unimaginable. Srila Prabhupada writes the summary of this chapter as given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrit Pravaha Bhashya. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he reaches Aritagram. He discovered Radha Kund, Shyam Kund, and then he went to see the deity of Haridev at Govardhan. Mahaprabhu had no desire to climb the Govardhan hill because Govardhan is non-different than Krishna. So Gopal understood the mind of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and on the plea of attack of Muslims, the deity was shifted to a place nearby at a village called as Gathuli Gram. Mahaprabhu went there to darshan of the deity of Gopalji. And then some years later, Gopal also went to Mathura and stayed at the house of a great devotee, Vithaleshwar. At this place, Sri Rupa Goswami came and took darshan of Gopalji. He stayed at Vithaleshwar for 1 month just to give an audience to Srila Rupa Goswami. Mahaprabhu visited many places. He went to Nandishwar, Pavan Sarovar, Sheshashai, Khelatirth, Bhandirvan, Bhadravan, Lohvan, Mahavan, so many places. And then went to Gokul and finally returned to Mathura. Seeing a great crowd in Mathura, he moved near Akrur Ghat. From there, every day he would go to Vrindavan. He would go to Kalia Ghat, Keshi Ghat. He would go to Rasasthali, Chir Ghat, Imlital. He would take darshan of all these. One time at Kalia Daha, Kalia Lake, the villagers, they mistook fishermen to be Krishna. Even Balbhadra Bhattacharya was confused. At one time, some respectable people came to meet Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and they expressed their opinion that when one takes sannyas, one becomes Krishna. So Mahaprabhu, he's instructed them in right Vaishnava philosophy. One can never become Krishna. Sannyasis are insignificant living entities. They can never become Krishna. They all became wonderful devotees of the Lord. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu took his bath at Akrura Ghat regularly, and he would be in the water for a long time. And then Balbhadra Bhattacharya, he took Mahaprabhu back to Prayag. And on the way, they visited a place, Soro Kshetra. He stopped there. He took bath in the confluence there. Mahaprabhu went into ecstasy, fainted. There was a group of Muslim Pathan soldiers. They were walking nearby. When they saw a sannyasi unconscious, they thought these two people, Balbhadra Bhattacharya and this Brahmana, they gave some poisonous herb, poisonous fruit, dhatura, and killed him. They arrested both of them. Ultimately, after some time, Mahaprabhu came back to consciousness and they were released. The leader of this group, his name was Bijuli Khan. Yeah. So he had a conversation with Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, And Mahaprabhu, on the basis of Quran, he established the principles of devotional service. Entire group of these Pathan soldiers became Vaishnava. And even today, that village is known as the village of Pathan Vaishnavas. So after bathing at Soro, ultimately Mahaprabhu arrived at Prayag Kshetra. So that is the synopsis which Thakur gives. So Kaviraj Goswami, as every chapter begins, he gives wonderful words describing the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. Vrindavane sthiracharan nandayan savalokanai atmanam chadadalokat gauranga paritobhramat. Says Vrindavane sthiracharan. As Mahaprabhu traveled all over the Vrindavan, he pleased Nandayan. He pleased all the living entities just by his glances. Swa avalokanai. He pleased all the moving and the non-moving living entities just by his glance. That is the power of the glance of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the power of Krishna. Chandrika Vishadasmerai Saruna Pang Vikshitai Swakarthanam Ivarajah Satvabhyam Srishtipalakai. The glance of Krishna creates the desire of service. The smile of Krishna destroys all the distress. The smile of Krishna is sufficient to satisfy everyone. The glance of Krishna is sufficient to give the desire for service. So everybody was pleased to get darshan of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Atmanam Chadaloka. And Lord, he took much personal pleasure in seeing everyone as he traveled to the forests of Vrindavan. Gauranga Parito Bhramat. Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Kaviraj Goswami glorifies the Panchatattva. So Mahaprabhu, he is dancing in ecstasy, and as he is dancing in ecstasy, he one day arrives at the place of Aritagram, also called as Arishtagram. It is the same place where Krishna killed the big bull demon called as Arishtasur. And you know the story in Krishna lila. As Kamsa sent this huge demon, Arishtasur, and Krishna, he ultimately killed him. All the gopis and Radharani came and said, "You have killed a bull. You have to atone." Krishna says, "Arey, he was a demon, whatever it may be, but he was a bull. You have to atone." So Krishna said, "What to do?" So they said, "You have to take bath in the holy rivers in Ganga." Krishna said, "Okay, why I'll go to all these holy rivers? I'll bring them here." With his foot hit in the ground, created a huge ditch and invited all the rivers. That became Shyamakunda. And then Krishna and he took bath in this kunda, and then he told the gopis and Radharani, because you have taken side of a demon, you have become sinful. You have to purify yourself. And there is no problem, you can come and take bath in my kunda. So Radharani and the gopi says, "We will not take bath in your kunda, we'll make our own kunda. And we'll get water from Ansinganga." So with their hands, with their bangles and whatever they had, they started digging. They made a huge hole, ditch. They started bringing waters from Ansinganga. It's a huge effort. So Krishna, he indicated all the holy rivers. They came in the personified form, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, and they prayed to Srimati Radharani, let us serve you. And they filled this lake created by Radharani and all the gopis with their waters. That is Radha Kunda. So Mahaprabhu is now in Aritagram. He inquired people, "Where is Radha Kunda?" Nobody knew where is Radha Kunda. Even the Brahmana who was assisting him, She also didn't know where is Radha Kund. तीर्थ लुप्त जानी प्रभु सर्वज्ञ भगवान दुई धान्य क्षेत्र अल्प जले कोयला स्नान. तीर्थ लुप्त जानी, he understood that, oh, this tirtha has become lupta. He is Sarvagya Bhagavan, he knows everything. There were two small puddles of water in the midst of the paddy fields. He took bath there. All the villagers, when they saw Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu taking bath in these two puddles of water, they became really astonished. And then Mahaprabhu, he started offering prayers to Radha Kunda. Sab gopi hoite Radha Krishnera prayasi, taiche Radha Kunda priya priyara sarasi. Of all the gopis, Radharani is the foremost, and similarly, her lake Radha Kund is also the foremost. It is dearmost to Krishna. And then he quoted a verse from Padma Puran, very famous verse. Yatha Radha priya Vishnu tasya kundam priyam tatha sarva gopishu sevaika Vishnu ratyanta vallabha. Just like Srimati Radharani is dearmost to Krishna, Yatha Radha priya Vishnu tasya kundam. The kunda of Srimati Radharani, Radha Kund is also dear to Krishna. Of all the gopis, Radharani is the most beloved. And in that lake, Krishna and Srimati Radharani, they would sport, they would perform ras dance on the banks of this Radha Kund. Anyone who takes bath in this Radha Kund even once, they get the same love like Srimati Radharani. Say Kundaye ek bar kare snan, tare Radha sam prema Krishna kare dan. Kundera madhuri yena radhara madhurima, Kundera mahima yena radhara mahima. Kundera madhuri, the attraction of Radha Kund is as sweet as that of Srimati Radharani. It is as attractive as Srimati Radharani for Krishna. Similarly, Kundera mahima, the glories of Radha Kund is same as the glory of Srimati Radharani. It is a person. It is a liquid love. And then Mahaprabhu quotes a verse from Govinda Lila Amrit, describing the same things because of the wonderful qualities of Radha Kund. It is as dear to Krishna as Srimati Radharani. And in that lake, Krishna performs so many wonderful pastimes. Anyone who takes bath even once, Premasmin Bataradi Kevalavate Yasyayam Sakrit Snana Krit. Even once somebody takes bath in this Radha Kunda, Tasya Vai Mahima Tatha Madhurima Kenas Suvarnekshito, gets the love of God. Who can describe the glories of Sri Radha Kunda? So Mahaprabhu offered beautiful, beautiful prayers to Radha Kunda. Everybody was really ecstatic. He was also absorbed in ecstasy. He collected the mud from Radha Kund, put tilak on his body on the Radha Kund. He kept some mud with him. So that's how Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he excavated. He again found Radha Kund and Shyama Kund. We'll stop here. We'll continue next time. The pastimes, further pastimes of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu in Vrindavan, Govardhan. Hare Krishna. Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.